storms, we decode the show. Hidden Easter eggs, lines to know. Three friends laughing, munching snacks. Lois and Clark were always coming back. Ooh, dial it up like the modem screams. Superpowers and love on a silver screen. Blurry pixels, but the story's clear. Superman's back, and we're all here.
I'm Molly.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Jen.
And welcome to Folks Forever, a Lois and Clark rewatch podcast.
We're three fans who've been loving LNC since 1993.
Each week we'll recap one episode and talk about at least one LNC-related topic.
If you would like to learn more about who we are, how we became folks, and or how we became friends, check out our intro episode.
Today we're going to be discussing Season 1, Episode 21, The House of Luthor. We'll also be talking a little bit about the official Lois and Clark soundtrack. House of Luthor first aired on May 8th, 1994. That spring on television, U.S. viewers gained access to three new viewing channels. The channels Encore, Stars, and Turner Classic Movies. Also debuting that spring on television, you had Thunder Alley, Sister Sister, These Friends of Mine, which later became Ellen, Christie, and All That on Nickelodeon. One more television-related thing. Immediately after this episode aired, ABC aired the first portion of their version of Stephen King's The Stand. Did you ever watch that?
No, I don't do scary.
I watched it, yes.
I didn't watch it when it aired, but I watched it later. Yeah, it's got the cheese, but it's good.
It's cheesy. Yeah, cheesy but good.
Scary?
Nah, not really.
I could do it now. I'm more of a thriller person now, but back then, no way. Mm-mm.
Yeah, there's no it's a pandemic movie, so depending on how much that scares you, even,
a little bit.
What we've been through.
PTSD. Yeah.
A little bit now.
Every Lois and Clark episode had a title. The House of Luthor is most likely a play on the title of The Fall of the House of Usher, a short story by American writer Edgar Allan Poe. And I believe this to be true because, at the end of this episode, we do see that newspaper that has the full Fall of the House of Luthor. I think they probably left the Fall of the off the script so that we wouldn't, everyone wouldn't be like, oh, that's what's going to happen. They wanted to preserve a little mystery.
Yeah.
But yes, he does. Yes, that happens. Okay.
Spoiler alert if you haven't watched it.
Well, is it a fall or is it? No, wait.
For it.
Anyhow.
It's a fly.
Whee!
Whee! And crash.
Before we get into our detailed episode discussion, we all have our very own summaries in 16 words or less. Today, we start with Julie.
My summary is, the gang investigate the Daily Planet downfall while Lois prepares for her dumb wedding to Lex.
Golf clap. It's amazing.
It is dumb.
It is so dumb. Mine is very short, and I didn't cover the whole episode. I just put, Clark crosses his fingers behind his back in the biggest lie he's ever told so far.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
Because it makes me mad.
Stupid Clark.
Stupid. What's yours, Molly?
Mine is, Lex has Lois and Superman right where he wants them. And then they both escape. Hee hee. And hee hee is my 16th word.
Hee hee. I love it. That's awesome.
I like it.
Hey, I'm remembering something.
Julie, do you have any memories of your first time watching this episode?
The only really big memories that I have about this was just the anticipation from all week before the conclusion of this, wanting to know what was going to happen. Please tell me she's not actually going to marry him. She's going to change her mind. She's going to love Clark and everything's going to be perfect. And then it kind of happened a little bit. So I was happy and then really excited for the next season. because of,
Mm.
well, she's
Mhm.
expressed her feelings internally. Maybe next season it will be externally. Maybe.
And Jen, what about
I
you?
I agree. I watched this episode the first time and I was completely obsessed. That's all there was to it. I wanted the next season to start tomorrow. I was mad at Clark for not letting Lois talk first. I'm sorry, that was just a bonehead move, but I was obsessed. I was shocked that Lex did what he did in the end, but I lived for the mirror scene and like the hug between Clark and Lois when the splat happened. So I loved this episode. So good.
When the splat happened.
Ugh.
Ah.
When her flowers fell down.
Her,
Oh,
yeah, I'm talking about her flowers. What are you talking
the
about?
flower splat. Yeah, that was tragic.
Yeah. Oops.
So kind of repeating what I said last time with Barbarians, these were the two episodes that hooked me for reals. And but some specific memories of this one. I remember my brother and I laughing at the cans of Shasta that everybody was holding because it's like Shasta without the T. And we just thought that
Hmm.
was the dumbest thing, but also hilarious. There was also one specific quote from this episode that we lived for. It was even better than "You're my son" and "It's always been my credo" and all of that. I want to know if you guys can guess what our quote was from this episode. It's in my section. I'll give you
A2,
that hint.
A2
Ooh,
A2
not
Brugier,
A2, although we did like
A2
that
Mrs.
one.
Huh.
Cox.
We did like A2 Mrs. Cox,
Um,
especially since we had no idea what it meant. It just sounded funny.
right.
Huh. I don't know.
All right, when we get to that
Hmm.
part, I will do my impression of it, and then it will all
I
become
cannot
clear.
wait.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
It's got to be something Lex said in the cellar or
Lex, it's
something.
in
Always
the,
Lex.
yeah,
It's always
it's
Lex.
gotta be.
It's
That
definitely
man, I tell you.
Lex. Tonight,
I
tonight.
will not, I will not live in a cage. Is it the Lex Luthor will not live in a cage?
It is
No?
not. No.
Okay.
And you know,
Uh,
this,
Now I'm
I guess it's
thinking.
impossible. He has so many good lines in this
I
one.
know.
yeah.
And it's not just the writing, it's his delivery. He is
Oh yeah.
fan
He
freaking tastic.
goes for it. Like who
It's
else,
gotta
and
be
this is
his.
mostly my section, but who else would just seriously take this whole situation, going into someone's cage, taunting them, singing show tunes, quoting
Yeah.
Shakespeare?
Mhm.
Like, which cummerbund should we choose? Like,
Say it's
and
got to be
then
in that scene.
Yeah.
threatening Clark, threatening Lois, with, well, we'll get there, but it's like all the things, and
Yeah.
he just nails it. But wait.
Yeah.
So, Jen, tell us about some of the guest stars of this episode, please.
Sure. Well, the first couple that I'll mention we have already covered, so I won't go into them. We do have Chris Demetral as Jack and Richard Belzer as Inspector Henderson. They're both coming back. Love them both. We also, oh, and also coming back, which we've already covered, Beverly Johnson is Mrs. Cox. So this is her second episode.
All three last
Oh,
appearance.
yes.
Wah, wah, wah.
So sad because they were all pretty good, except for, I mean, Mrs. Cox, she was good.
Oh, no.
She's just
She
not
was good.
likable.
Yeah,
Not likable.
she's not supposed to be. We're not
Yeah,
putting
she's
on
not
her.
supposed to be.
We're not inviting her to Thanksgiving, but she
Right.
does a good job.
James Earl Jones played of Franklin Stern. He is the voice of Mufasa in The Lion King. He also did many of the Star Wars movies as the voice of Darth Vader, Field of Dreams, The Hunt for Red October, and so many other things. Like his filmography is quite long, but very well known and a very famous voice. Phyllis Coates played Ellen Lane. She is most famous for playing Lois Lane in the TV series Adventures of Superman. But I remember that also being a big deal when this episode aired, is that she was guest starring on the episode and she was a link to previous Superman shows.
Yeah, we don't get
Anyway.
another one from that show until what, season 4, I think. Jack Larson in Brutal Youth was Jimmy Olsen on that show.
Oh, the old guy that
Mm.
that
The
got
old
old.
guy.
The old guy that went, yeah, that old
Okay.
guy. Old Jimmy.
Oh, okay. Wow. Did I know that? Maybe I did. I don't know.
We get Sam Lane for one episode, Ellen Lane for one episode. Never to see these actors again, but we do get the characters back.
Right. Richard Stahl played the Archbishop. He is best known for The American President, Overboard, Five Easy Pieces, and LA Story. He did an episode of Harry and the Hendersons, The Golden Girls, and Empty Nest, among other TV shows. But I remember thinking when I watched this, is that really the Archbishop? Because he
I
looks
know, right? He sold
like
it.
one. Yeah.
Good casting for
Yeah.
sure. I loved him in Overboard. That movie's hilarious. Have you guys seen the original Overboard?
With
I don't like
Goldie
the
Hawn.
remake. Yeah,
Yeah,
with
I
Goldie
haven't seen
Hawn
it in a
one. It's
long
great.
time. I need
It's
to rewatch
hilarious.
it. Our last one that I'll mention, J. Madison Johnson played the guard. Lois and Clark is their top credit, but also remembering Colin Stahl. I'm not familiar with that at all, but that's what I got.
Let's get into the episode. So the episode starts with Lex flying around in a Superman suit, but instead of the S on his chest, it says, of course, Lex in big bold letters. He flies around, spinning happily in the air, seeing that his master plan is working out perfectly. He flies by Lois's apartment and sees her happily trying on her wedding dress. He flies by Clark's and sees him surrounded by crumpled up paper, completely frustrated. He flies by the park and sees Jimmy looking practically homeless, reading the classifieds, and eventually circling dishwasher wanted. We then see Jack locked up in the juvenile detention center and Perry just sleeping on his porch. Suddenly, we are in a spooky abandoned graveyard. Thunder and lightning strike, and what do we see? Superman's tombstone. R.I.P. Superman.
Little tiniest tombstone you ever did see.
It's not
Oh,
that
so
tiny,
sad.
really, in person. It is right next to me on the floor. I do own it. It's one of my favorite things that I've gotten. I got it about a little over a year ago, and it is crazy heavy and cool. I love it.
So is it solid? Is it like an actual
It
tombstone?
is. It is solid. It is not like granite. I think it's like,
Okay.
I don't know, like maybe wooden or something inside. It is super heavy, but it's like sprayed in like a whole, like a stone granite spray and then carved. It's really cool, but it is crazy heavy, and
wow.
it took both of us to get it up the stairs into this room.
Wow.
So we cut back to Lex's penthouse and see that he is just in his own little virtual world as he pulls off his goggles and smiles wickedly. Is this like a precursor to Virtually Destroyed? Maybe he's
Mhm.
testing out his
Yeah.
virtual world.
Yeah. We know who inherits that set.
Yes.
It's funny because it kind of does serve as a almost not, I don't know what the word is, not recap, but like telling us where the rest of the characters are right now. And it's sort of accurate.
Yeah.
Lois probably is
Yeah.
trying on a wedding dress. Jack is in juvie. Jimmy is having trouble finding a job. The Clark one is a little off though, because we'll see in a minute he does not have a typewriter and he's not throwing papers around. But similar, they're all kind of similar.
Close.
Of course, the last one being Superman is completely off. That's just his, this is what I want to happen. Ha ha ha, Superman will die and nobody will even remember him.
Well, we now cut over to Clark's apartment where he is floating crisscross applesauce style, writing his novel on his big chunky 90s laptop. He prints it out and we see that it is titled Metropolis Blues. Anybody have any guesses on what this is about?
A man who has
Lois.
declared his love to his coworker and been rebuffed.
Yes. Yes. I think so too. That was my guess.
Poor Clark. Can I just say he looks really good in this scene, and he always looked good, but the no glasses and the scruffy, like the 5 o'clock shadow, smoking hot in this
I've been
scene.
thinking about, I absolutely agree. We talked about in the other episodes where Tracy Scoggins looked particularly pretty. I mean, not that she isn't, but like particularly, or Lois in, I think it was Batman. No, not Batman.
It was
Witness. In Witness, she looked like really pretty with her hair back. We've pointed these out. So I I will say he looks good in this episode, like particularly
Yes.
adorable. And it might be the outfits too, because he wears plaid in one scene, he's got black on in one scene,
Mm-hmm.
but also he's done something different with his hair, where if you look back at like From on My Lovely, where it doesn't look so good and now it does. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
A little heart eyes as a teenager, definitely. I mean,
Yes.
is it a coincidence that these episodes hooked me? Just saying. I'm just saying.
I think
Maybe.
we're
I
on to
think
something here.
I think it's the little bit of scruff that he's not all the way put together like he is when he's going to work. He's just kind of relaxed. His hair's a little bit more like fluffy and very cute. Like he looks really good in
Yeah.
this episode.
Mm-hmm. This is peak Clark Kent here.
He got the note, don't shave for a few days between these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
See what you can do. And that's all he got.
Yeah.
It was enough. It was enough to do it.
It was psh, chef's kiss.
Well, anyway.
So he's
now that we get
so
our giggles
anyway.
out here.
Hard eyes. Whew.
Art. He stands up, stretches and yawns, clearly having been at it for a while. He looks over at a framed Daily Planet staff photo and decides to give Perry a call to see how he's doing. Do you guys have framed photos of your coworkers?
All of them.
All of them?
Just kidding. No. So I do actually have old coworkers, not
Old
current
ones.
though. So
Mhm.
Yeah, I have some old ones.
yeah.
So Perry informs him that he's doing fine, but it's clear that he's miserably bored, just relaxing in his new Florida home. Clark tells him that he's concerned about Jimmy because he heard that he got evicted, yet he hasn't heard from him. Even though Clark says he doesn't really need any help finding him, Perry, bored out of his mind and dying to be needed, says,
Oh, damn it, Kent. Tell me you need my help.
I need your help.
See, I thought so. I'm gonna take the first flight out in the morning. I'll meet you at your place.
That's great, Chief. I'll see you then.
Good. See you then. Aha.
there's a weird little scene in the script here where Clark is hungry and he opens his fridge and he's looking for food, and the only thing he's got in there is an onion and some garlic.
Where's his
Oh.
dairy? No.
As we know, his fridge is usually weird, so that tracks. But he does have a steak in the freezer. He gets the steak out of the freezer and makes this meal with his heat vision.
Onion and garlic. The two
Garlic.
things. Like
Yeah.
that man is not going to be making out with anybody in the next like 24 hours if he makes something with those things. So
That's what you eat when you've lost all hope, I guess.
you've lost your oh yeah. Ooh, we could get
There
philosophical
you
here.
I was taking it more as the guy has no food in his fridge, and this is what he's got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he hasn't left the house in days, kind of thing. Except he has, because he said he went by Jimmy's apartment. But maybe
Yeah.
that was as Superman. Maybe as Clark, he hasn't gone to the store or whatever. I don't know. There's
Yeah.
so many things that happen in this episode where, and the last one too, where you can kind of easily imagine a lot of things going on in the background. And like you mentioned, the whole stuff, the whole side plot with Jimmy that didn't make it into the episode, and the Barbarians, all his like
Yeah.
entrepreneurial stuff. And I've been thinking about that and how that totally fits. It could totally still be a thing that happened, even though we don't get to hear it. And then there's so much that has to be happening in the background in this episode too that we don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it
Yeah.
intrigues me and I want to know more.
Yes, with the Jimmy stuff in the last one, it really makes sense if you think about it with this one too. The fact that the guy took all of his money. He has no money, so he does get evicted because he has nothing in his savings account. His loan money was taken. So, poor guy. Living on a park bench.
Yeah. And I want to know how, well, in a minute we'll see somebody else come in and I want to know more about them too. But anyway, keep going.
Okay, so we cut over to Lex's penthouse, where Lex and Lois are looking over blueprints for the new massive house they plan on building. Lex wonders if they should move the gym, which is currently right by the bedroom. Lois comments that the gym should be there, so she can get up and see the stair climber staring her in the face, saying, "Now, Lois, now." Lex replies,
No, darling, that'll be my line.
Bleck. We do not want to think about this.
So not okay.
Whenever I think about apartments or houses, her saying the master bedroom is 3,000 square feet. That's twice as big as my whole apartment. And then that, like, okay, so her apartment is 1,500. Okay. And then that's like what that is. This line is always in my head when I
That's
think
funny.
of that stuff. Yeah.
You can compare it to Lois.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious. But is that accurate? I wonder if we thought about it and actually plotted it out. Is her apartment really 1,500 square feet?
Mm-hmm.
It seems kind of small.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's got that much.
No.
Salvi's got the whole blueprint.
Seriously.
So now we discover that they have not had sex because this is important information. Lois wants to wait for the wedding night and thanks him for understanding.
I was happy about that.
I think the writers just gave us that information to make us happy because we don't want to go there.
Right.
Right.
Plus, this is an 8 o'clock show that kids are watching. Got to set an example here.
Exactly. Don't sleep with bad guys.
Until the wedding night. But then just
Until the
say
wedding night. Yeah.
Until the wedding night. Then do what you want. Get it, girl.
what any of that out of matrimony stuff.
God forbid.
Especially when you're being married by the Archbishop.
Archbishop.
The Archbishop is watching.
Just then, Mrs. Cox enters the room to review Lex's schedule, informing him that the Series K field test was scheduled for 3:45 p.m. Suddenly, the phone rings, interrupting them. It's a call for Lex, obviously, so he decides to take it in the library. He excuses himself and leaves Lois alone with Mrs. Cox, who clearly dislikes her. I think the feeling is pretty mutual. Feeling uncomfortable, Lois decides to engage in some small talk, asking what Series K was. When she is told that it is confidential, Lois asserts that Lex and she have no secrets. Mrs. Cox responds with a snarky comment,
Really?
which offends Lois. So she asks if there is a Mr. Cox.
He died.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Don't be. I'm not.
What the heck?
Wow.
This whole interaction between them is so well done, well directed, well acted. And Lois, if you look at her body language, she is like bent over. She is making herself really small. And then you have Mrs. Cox sitting up on Lex's desk, crossing her legs. The actress was a model. I mean, she's gorgeous, sexy, these legs for days. And poor Lois, who is also a beautiful woman, but at this moment is feeling, completely shadowed. And you can just feel the, like she's right back in junior high kind of thing. Our Lois, who is supposed to be this tenacious, doesn't give a crap person, is feeling very small at this moment. And, this is an indicator of what it's going to be like if she goes through with this. Just really well done and with so few words. You don't hear, well, you do hear Lois say in a minute that she doesn't like Mrs. Cox, but it's just all body language and tension going on, and it's so good.
Yeah, they wouldn't have had this with Nigel. So I get why they changed it and he's not there. I kind of like that it's not Nigel. That they had this tension, jealousy, kind of back and forth. It was kind of good. So Lex returns, Mrs. Cox is dismissed, and Lois says, I don't like that woman. Lex says that she is the best assistant he's ever had, but says that he'll fire her if that's what she wants. Lois interrupts saying, no, it's fine, but gets up and heads to the balcony for some fresh air. Lois admits that she's been feeling overwhelmed because of all the wedding preparations and that she's sad because she misses her friends from the planet and she hadn't talked to them in weeks. That's your own fault. Call them.
And her wedding RSVPs, it took a few watchings to catch what she was saying, but apparently the only person that she cares about that is RSVP'd yes is her mother. Not Lucy, not Dad, not Clark, not Perry, Jimmy, nobody.
Yep. So Lex does suggest that she simply call them. She pauses, smiles as though this simple solution never occurred to her, and says, I think I will. Lois then asks about Jack. Lex says that he did hire him a lawyer, but for some reason, Jack ended up firing them and is going with somebody straight out of law school. Shifting the conversation back to their house plans, Lex asks Lois,
So, now if we decided on a 12-car garage or the 15.
he doesn't have that many vehicles. We've seen, like, what, 2?
Yeah,
He doesn't even drive.
The status
it's a
thing.
bit excessive.
We cut to Jimmy at his new exciting job at a sleazy strip club. He's got the fun job of standing outside in the cold yelling,
No cover, no minimum. All girls, all the time. Girls, girls, and more girls.
hey, at least it's a job.
It is a
I
job.
mean,
You gotta
better
do
than
what you
nothing, I
gotta do.
guess.
The only thing worse I can imagine for Jimmy would be to be one of those guys with the mattress signs and be like, mattress sale, and he's
And
flipping it
spinning
around
it.
in traffic.
Yeah,
With the arrow.
breaking his nose
Yeah.
with the because he can't get it right.
I don't think we had those back then, but still.
Yeah.
Or wearing some big giant inflatable costume of something out front.
Yes, yes.
So Jack shows up, admits to have broken out of juvie, and wants to know if Jimmy needs a roommate. But no, Jimmy is apparently staying at the Y now and thinks Jack needs to turn himself in. Jack says he's not going back because he overheard somebody talking about framing him, planting the incriminating evidence at his place. He says that he needs help clearing his name and he can't do that on the inside. Poor guy. Can't catch a break. So that night, Lois calls Clark as he lies in bed. They have an awkward conversation, dancing around their feelings. Lois says that she is settling in at her new job, and Clark says that he's staying busy but exploring his options. He also mentions that Perry is coming to stay with him for a few days because they're worried about Jimmy. Lois is concerned as well once she learns this information, but feeling uncomfortable and clearly still hurt over everything, Clark says, it's late. Before hanging up, Lois says,
I miss you.
I miss you too, Lois. Good night.
This was a gift to the fans from everyone in charge of this show. Because he was shirtless in bed. She was in a nightgown. Did you see her like slip down as she's on the phone? She kind of slipped down into her pillow and under the covers, like talking to him while I'm in bed. Like this was such a gift. I ate it up because it was fabulous.
it's fabulous and heartbreaking at the same time. You can
Yes.
clearly see they're both sad. He is
Mhm.
miserably upset and disappointed, hurt, so much so that he can't really talk to her. And that's sad. Molly's like, eh.
It's like she called him so that she, because she missed him and she thought that would help her feel better, but I don't think it's working.
It did not work. The next morning, Clark gets up ready for a new day. Knowing that Perry is coming, he gets out a handheld mirror and uses his laser vision to shave. Bye-bye, scruff. He then pats some aftershave on his cheeks and grimaces.
I
Why?
think that's the Home Alone joke where
Yeah.
you're like, it doesn't really hurt, but you're pretending it does.
Yeah.
'Cause that's
Yeah, do you
Okay.
think it really did hurt him?
No.
Maybe he's more vulnerable because he's using his own like Kryptonian powers against himself. Don't you think that does make him a little bit more vulnerable?
Oh,
Because if
he's
another
using his-
Kryptonian did it to him, it would probably hurt,
Right.
right?
no, it's just heat.
No.
He can stand a lot of heat.
Sure. I
How
do.
does the heat take the
You know-
scruff off? How does that scientifically work? Because you don't.
He burns
heat
it.
your-
It's burnt.
He's burning the
Right?
hair.
That's what my assumption is.
Electrolysis? I don't know. Something, but yeah, maybe I just no, I don't know.
We need answers. This doesn't make sense.
See, I remember reading, well, I don't remember if it was a comic or fan fiction. Let's be real, it was probably fan fiction because I haven't read very many comics lately. But I remember reading one a while back about him using his heat vision, his laser vision on his arm so a doctor could stick a needle in it to like draw blood. And I was like, okay, that makes sense that it would make him a little bit more vulnerable. So
Oh,
maybe it did hurt. Maybe a little. No? Molly still says no.
I still don't know how. I just don't I can't get past the heat to get rid of the. I loved the effect. I thought it was brilliant. It was fun to watch, and he looked dang good doing it. But it doesn't make sense to me that he's burning the hair off of his face. Okay, I don't know. We can move
It's a
on.
power.
All right. Anyway, just then, Perry shows up at the door. Clark asks what excuse he gave Alice.
Son, I've been married 25 years. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's don't lie to your wife.
So, what'd you tell Alice?
I told her I was going fishing.
But my question is, why did he have to even make up an excuse? She would have been fine with him saying, hey, I need to go see, I need to find, my old coworker. He's missing, blah, blah, blah. She would have been fine.
I don't know.
I can imagine her saying, no, you left that life behind and you agreed that we were going to try to make it work here in Florida. Now you need to cut your ties and try to give this a chance.
All right. But you don't think she's going to wonder why he's gone for days fishing?
No, because technically she's a ghost. She does not exist. She has no
Ghost.
physical form.
She's a ghost.
She'll grow into physical form in a year and a half, but
And then
only
change.
from the back. And then
And then change.
she will achieve full form by season 4, and everything will be fine.
She's probably looking forward to him bringing home some fish, which he never does.
That's true.
Maybe he went out and bought some fish and then lied about that as well. These are the fish I caught.
The lies, this man.
Bad.
So the second they start discussing where Jimmy is, guess who shows up at the door? A starving Jimmy. Clark immediately picks up the phone to order some pizza, saying, Canadian bacon, right? Jimmy is impressed that he remembers. However, if you remember correctly from Fly Hard, Canadian bacon is not what he gets. He gets veggie pizza.
I always thought
Oh,
it made sense to me because at that age, I would go from like liking this kind to liking this kind. And maybe Jimmy was on a health kick for like a couple weeks, and that's why
Maybe.
he wanted the vegetarian pizza. I don't think he normally eats that. I think yes, Canadian bacon makes more sense.
Yes.
That was one of my favorite kinds back in the day too.
I could see Jimmy as a pineapple on pizza kind of kid.
did he say with pineapple?
No.
That's what Canadian bacon usually is.
Yeah.
It's usually with pineapple.
Pineapples.
But did he say it out loud? Because I am all for pineapple on pizza. And if they said it, then I am going to be Team Jimmy.
They did not, but
They
I
did.
would assume it's got pineapple on it too. So I could see Jimmy eating pineapple pizza. I like
Nice.
pineapple on pizza personally.
Me too.
So that has to go onto our, meetup list of foods that we have to order. Pizza,
Okay.
Canadian bacon with pineapple.
With pineapple. If you're okay, if I will peel off the Canadian bacon and give it to somebody else because I
Not
don't
me.
eat pork. I mean, I'm okay
Julie's
with it.
gonna have a
Julie can have all my.
Julie will eat it all.
I'll take your bacon.
That's great. Perfect.
So Clark goes to order 2 pizzas, but Jimmy says, hold up, better make that 3, as Jack suddenly appears in the doorway. Does nobody ever close the door to his apartment?
I know. The heating bill is going to be off the charts.
They sit down to eat and discuss the downfall of the Daily Planet and how Jack is being framed. Jack tells them that he overheard talk about a couple guys who were paid a ton of money to frame him by a guy known as the Boss. He says that he is not going back to juvie because the Boss sent Pete there to most likely kill him. Is that your assumption? He was going to get murdered?
Mhm.
That would be my guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yikes. I would have broken out too.
Yeah.
Bye. So Perry gives out assignments. Jack and Jimmy are to find John Black. Clark is to find information on the Boss. And Perry is going to dig into the Daily Planet finances. Clark then hears a bank alarm.
Excuse me for a sec. I left some clothes in the dryer.
Is there a basement? There's got to be a laundry place somewhere in that building.
Oh, maybe.
I'm going to hope that everybody's gone because they're going to wonder why he doesn't come back with clothes. Be like, oh, they
True.
weren't ready yet. They're still drunk. Somebody stole my clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your excuse then? I will say in the script there was another little tiny weird thing here, and I'll mention. When they're eating the pizza, Jimmy makes a gesture with his arm, knocks over a bottle of soda, which is open. The cap is off of it. Clark super speeds, closes the cap on the bottle, and then lets it fall down to the floor.
That would have been cool.
That would have been pretty cool. I guess he did it because he
Unnecessary,
didn't. Completely unnecessary. He did it because he didn't want, the pop to spill all over his expensive rug, is what it said. So he let it fall, but closed the cap. And then Jimmy goes to pick it up and is all confused, thinking, wasn't there, what? Why does this have a cap on it now? I'm very confused. I think it would have been funny. But
Yeah.
I think it would have also been, one, hard to film that. Well, maybe not, because I guess they would have just shot it without and then shot it with. But yeah,
How would they have
unnecessary,
shot
but it would have
him
been cool.
screwing it on?
Yeah, like
Yeah. I think it would have been a fun little sight gag to see.
to see Jimmy go, wait, huh?
Yeah.
What? How did this cap
And
get
then
on
Jack
here?
there, seeing that it happened, like he would have maybe, if he knows,
Yeah,
been
Jack.
onto it, he would have, putting more puzzle pieces together. Maybe.
Yeah.
Is this the part after Jimmy, they've decided which, he's going to look into the Daily Planet finances and Jimmy's going to go do this or whatever. Jimmy says, just like old times, right?
Yes.
And Perry gives Jimmy the two fingers, which remember
Yes.
from Illusions of Grandeur was like that's Brilliant Olsen signal.
I did
Which I thought was
notice
super
that.
cute.
Yes, I did
Oh,
notice
what?
that.
I
two fingers.
missed it. That's funny. Oh, now I want to
Yeah,
go
he
back
goes-
and rewatch that.
Nice callback there.
So Superman flies onto the scene at the bank and is greeted by a guard. The guard thanks Superman for coming out, but admits that it was a false alarm and that the security system just went crazy for a minute. As Superman starts to respond, he squints and starts shaking his head and grabbing his temple like Mariah Carey, hitting a high note. The classic, like, oh shit, there's kryptonite around acting method that Dean likes to do. Then we pan over to Mrs. Cox, delicately reapplying her powder foundation with a sponge and looking into a little mirror. She closes her clamshell makeup case and walks away, and miraculously, Superman's symptoms stop. We then see Mrs. Cox dialing Lex on her giant cellular phone to confirm that they have the genuine article. She then reaches down and pulls out a giant kryptonite necklace glowing green.
I think that's kind of a homage to the Superman, the movie, the original movie, where Gene Hackman makes the kryptonite necklace and puts it around Superman's neck. Do you remember that?
Oh, sure don't.
That's what I see from that.
I need to rewatch the original.
They stole it from the movie.
Interesting. All right, so back in Clark's apartment, we find Clark on the phone with his parents. He is explaining to his mom that he also thought the kryptonite was gone, but then he remembered there was a sample sent to the lab for testing. Ooh, and what's that? There was a piece that disappeared? Of course there was. Clark hears whistling with his super hearing, grabs his glasses, and yells out to Perry that the keys are under the mat. Perry looks confused, and then grabs the key and comes inside anyway. Clark wraps up his conversation with his parents, and when Perry comes in, he asks Clark,
Hey, how in the world did you know I was out there?
Oh, here, Chief, let me take this for you.
Oh, thank you.
it was complete avoidance. But at least he didn't lie, right?
He could have just said that he saw his shadow.
Yeah. He didn't have to get into it, but he could have said something.
Now, we've had 30 years to think of his excuse, but he didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
one
That's
right.
true. Good point. Clark and Perry start discussing their investigation, and Perry admits that all the old board of directors are avoiding him. Perry continues that he got a hold of the transcript where they agreed to sell to Luthor, but his instinct tells him that they're hiding something from him. Clark laments.
I just hope we're not too late.
Wedding's coming up pretty fast, huh?
2 days. Maybe it doesn't even matter what we find. Maybe Luthor is what she wants.
Perry has a cute line here as he pours his Shasta soda, Molly, into a glass and says, "Here, all this time I thought we were trying to save the Daily Planet."
We are. Chief,
I'm just funning with you, son.
Then we get a fishing metaphor story from Perry with his dating advice. Perry ends it with, "We've still got a couple of days," and that shifts Clark's mindset, and they're off to continue their investigation. So Clark, Perry, Jimmy, and Jack are all on a conference call and discussing their progress. We see Clark walking out of a pawn and loan store with a notepad and a pencil. We learn that every criminal element in Metropolis pays protection money to a shadowy character named the Boss. And most people don't know who this person is. Next, we see Perry leaving Bigelow and Fuller, certified public accountants, and explaining that there was additional insurance on the Daily Planet building through a subsidiary of LexCorp called Lex L Investments. Next, we see Jimmy snooping by some old mailboxes, uncovering the name John Black, and he explains that he found John Black and all they have to do is set the guy up.
When Jimmy went and found the mailbox for John Black, did anybody see what was there in that spot in the mail? No?
No.
There is a little car pamphlet in the slot below the John Black mailbox. The pamphlet is upside down, and you see the bottom half of the Batman logo.
Throwing in some DC related things in there. Wow. That's cool.
You don't get very many references to Batman. A few times in this series.
A few. Yeah.
Mostly third season.
So Jack says that the Planet Board originally decided not to sell to Lex, but then suddenly they all changed their minds and they're all driving new Ferraris. And one guy he's catching with his video camera having a little affair with a gorgeous side piece. So that's fun.
I love Jack holding the camcorder and then recording this illicit event and then looking right at the guy and kind of shaking his head like shame, shame. Caught you though.
You just got caught. Surprise, you're on candid camera. Clark comes up with a theory that if Luthor manipulated the board to sell to him, then burned the planet down to collect the insurance, he wonders if the boss could really be ... Lex Luthor. Everyone kind of agrees to that idea, and they hang up and agree to meet back up at the apartment.
Dun, dun, dun. Lex Luthor.
Could he be a bad guy? I am shocked. So after Clark hangs up, he is walking down the sidewalk when he gets honked at. It's Lois driving a fancy convertible car. She goes,
"Need a lift, big boy?"
and Clark just sighs and asks if it's a present from Luthor. She admits that she borrowed it, and Clark snaps back with a,
Well, then I guess you owe him one, don't you?
He turns and continues to walk down the sidewalk, brushing her off. Okay, Clark, we get you're upset and hurt, but you're kind of being a jerk. Lois follows Clark in the car and pleads with him to get in the car. When she says please, he huffs and gets inside, but not without a,
What do you want, Lois?
I want you to come to my wedding.
I can't.
Why not?
I can't.
and then she goes, you hate him that much, or is it me you hate now? Clark says he could never hate her, and he explains that he just can't sit there and watch her walk down the aisle with that. And as he almost finishes sentence, Lois finishes it for him.
What? Thief? Gangster? Psychopath? Murderer?
Maybe all of the above.
Lois then says, you are driving us further and further apart. And Clark, in his jealous haze, goes, I'm not the one doing the driving, Lois. You are. And with that, he opens the door and gets out. Then he tells her to look into Lex L Investments and the extra insurance policy they took out on the Daily Planet, and that it would have made it very easy to rebuild the paper. Then he goes, you're an investigative reporter, Lois. Investigate. He's got a point, but he's kind of coming off as a jerk.
Very much so.
So in the next scene, we hear the screeching rewind sound.
You're an investigative reporter, Lois. Investigate.
And it's a cassette player, super old school. It's not even the small cassettes. It's like the big old clunky ones from my childhood. Mrs. Cox pauses the tape and Lex blows a puff of his cigar.
Modern surveillance technology is such a beautiful thing, don't you think, Mrs. Cox?
Lex is holding a gun and Mrs. Cox looks at him and asks, $1 billion for your thoughts. And Lex says, sold. Lex explains that everything is falling into line. He admits to everything. He is now planning on proving Clark's allegations false, which will drive that much more of a wedge between Lois and her old life. And I think we mentioned this in the last episode, but the narcissism and the lying, abusive tendencies, it's all like for power, control, entertainment. Like he is so evil.
The one thing that always bothered me about this episode, and I love this episode, but the one thing that always bothered me was Lois is really close to Clark. Obviously, they're best friends. She says they're best friends, but she doesn't even really listen or try to look into anything like he's accusing. At least look into it. Now, in the script, there is a part where she does, and I kind of wish they left this in. Because Lex listened in on this conversation where Clark is telling her, look into the insurance policy. Lex knows that she may actually listen to him and look into the insurance policy. In the script, she does. But because Lex knows that she might, he sets up somebody to tell her false information. So when she calls and asks about the policy, she is told a lie that there wasn't enough money to rebuild and blah, 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 because Lex paid him off. So I was like, oh,
Wow.
makes sense now. Because Lois wouldn't just completely never look into this stuff. But I'm like, okay, it explained it in the script that she really did. But it came up as, no, there wasn't enough money. So she was like, well, Clark is wrong. I'm done. I'm going back to my happy life with Lex.
Wow.
Yeah.
But, boo.
Yeah. So Mrs. Cox goes, part 1 of your plan is complete. And Lex confirms part 2 is his business with Superman. And we know what that means. So Lex asks Mrs. Cox to contact Clark Kent to get a hold of Superman so they can have a word about Lois.
So the whole thing about Clark knowing how to contact Superman goes all the way back to, I want to say, Pheromone My Lovely, where Clark's talking to Lex and he says, we need to find Superman. I'll go find him somehow. And Lex hears him say that. And then Superman does end up saving Lois, and Lex knows, hey, this guy, Clark, can contact Superman. So I think that's where that originated.
Right. All right. So we are now in a wine cellar, and Lex is getting some wine out of a barrel when Mrs. Cox leads Superman in. Lex welcomes him, and Superman walks past an axe on the door and down the stairs toward Lex. Superman is pissed and doesn't want to deal with the small talk. He blurts out, what do you want, Luthor? And Lex says he wants a favor. That Lois is unhappy because she misses her friends at the Daily Planet, particularly Clark Kent. We see a slight glimmer in Clark's eyes, and he asks, so? Like, now he's willing to kind of listen. And Lex continues to ask if Superman can get Clark to come to the wedding. Lex walks over to pour another glass of wine, while Superman starts to belittle him.
You live in a fantasy world, Luthor. Neither Clark nor I will ever do anything to support your marriage to Lois.
Lex feigns disappointment and says, well, I suppose I have no further use for you. And he twists the nozzle on the barrel, but instead of wine coming out, steel bars fall from the sky as if trapping a rat in a cage. Superman scoffs, almost laughing at this pathetic attempt, but then starts to struggle with his words. And that's when the bars start to glow green. Yep, that's Kryptonite, complete with Kryptonite sound effect. Lex admits that yes, he lives in a fantasy world, but his fantasy is about to come true. Cut to commercial break.
How did he not see that cage? Did it come out from the ceiling? Like he was up on top of the stairs. You would think he'd be looking straight at it.
Yeah.
When he walked down. I don't know. How did you not see there was a cage there? And how
Yeah,
did you
maybe
not?
it was hidden by.
How did he activate
I
this
don't know.
kryptonite? Because it would have been hurting him this whole
He
time.
pushed a button. He pushed a
Yeah,
button.
he had a little remote.
Yeah.
Right, but how does that work? What?
Yeah, that's interesting technology.
What? Maybe it was
maybe it was in the ceiling
inside.
in a lead-lined
Yeah.
box, and he pushed the button and the trap doors go down and the cage drops.
Yeah,
That is an
maybe.
elaborate ass plan, but if anyone can do it, it's Lex.
They're lead
Lex
lead
hired
bars,
someone.
and when he hits it, it like seeps out the kryptonite, which then turns green. I don't know. I have no idea. Sure.
Yeah. Complicated.
Yeah, but I don't think Lex knows that lead.
No, he wouldn't. I don't
don't-
think he would.
I don't think he would know that. So, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it was far enough up in the ceiling that he couldn't feel it.
Yeah.
We're going to go with that. Sure.
He's so mad he's blinded. He doesn't know.
Mhm.
So back at Clark's apartment, Perry is wearing a red apron and cooking at the stove. Jack and Jimmy walk in.
At this point, Clark should be at home. They know he's not at home. We know where Clark is,
Mhm.
but
Yeah. So basically, they all came together and collaborated, and Jack is going to be in the clear. Perry dishes them up some crawfish, tells them, I hope you like it spicy. And they all take a bite, and it's hot, and they all go running for the fields.
or Jack and Jimmy go to the sink.
Jack and Jimmy do. Yeah, not Perry's like chowing down. He loves it.
Harry's
Yep.
like, this is delicious. There's no way that I would have eaten that. Ugh.
No, ew. So gross.
Now, I like really spicy stuff, but not that. Not if it has eyeballs. I'm not eating it.
Mm-mm.
Gross.
Nothing from the sea for me.
No. Mm-mm.
I love how Perry's just making himself at home, though, cooking on Clark's stove. It's probably the first time that stove has seen any action in
Yeah.
6 months. But
Seriously.
I hope he found some pot holders.
Oh, yeah. That's
Maybe
right.
Clark's
Like,
bought some
why
pot
is my-
holders since then.
All right, so we get a quick shot of Superman coughing and choking on the floor behind the green kryptonite bars. Then we're in the car with Lex and Lois, all dressed up, and the rain is coming down hard. And they set up the scene beautifully. Lois is lost in a daze and not paying any attention to what Lex is talking about.
Did you know that Shakespeare didn't write Othello, that it turns out it was actually written by Dr. Seuss? Am I boring you?
What?
Am I boring you?
No, of course not.
She apologizes and laments how not one of the people she thought she was closest to was coming. She leans into him and then asks about the insurance policy and admits that she can't help but think that he bought the planet to win her over. And Lex admits that he did.
Of course he did.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
But he makes it sound like it was a romantic gesture when we know it was not.
No, it was not.
He has a good way of spinning things.
Classic behavior.
I have a comment about the limo scene. We find out in the script where her dad is and where Lucy is and why they're not going to make it to the wedding. Her dad is in Africa on a medical relief mission, so he can't make it. And Lucy is apparently trekking in Nepal.
Oh, that's cool.
I could see that though for Lucy.
So that's why they can't come. Okay.
I
makes sense.
guess. There are airplanes. They could still come. But I guess last minute, it seems like this wedding happened pretty quickly, within a couple
Yeah.
weeks. So, pretty expensive plane tickets. But hey, if
Especially
your
for
daughter or your sister is getting married, you should be there.
You would think so.
Rude.
I mean, it could also be that I'm thinking of The Princess Bride for some reason, but that's the one where, they're the bad guy. No, no, Humperdinck tells Buttercup, I'm going to send out these 3 ships to go after Wesley. He promises her this, and it's actually that he's lied. He has not sent out these 3 ships, and she finds out right before they get the wedding that he's lied. Similar with Lex, where he could have been like, oh yeah, I tried to get Lucy to come. I even offered to pay for it, and she said no, which could have been a total lie. Like, he could have also prevented them from coming in for his own purposes.
Yeah. Perry walks into an office to meet with Mr. Stern, who is another rich guy and businessman. Mr. Stern admits that he misses reading the Daily Planet and that Metropolis has lost an asset. Perry then dives into his reasoning for being there. He knows that Mr. Stern owns a lot of things and wonders if he might consider owning a newspaper.
Correct me if I'm wrong, There is no newspaper.
Now, the Daily Planet was a lot more than just steel girders and concrete. It was people, it was ideas, principles. Those still exist. There is a newspaper. We just don't have a place to print it.
Stern wonders why he'd want to own it, and Perry says,
I can't imagine anyone wanting anything else.
unfortunately, it's just not enough, and Stern respectfully declines. Perry walks away with one other thing that he has to say, that he just hates to see Lex Luthor win. This, you can see, kind of piques Stern's interest, and Perry admits that they've gathered evidence that strongly suggests that he's behind the fall of the Daily Planet. Perry walks out, and Stern is left contemplating everything.
Have we ever mentioned that James Earl Jones was who Deborah Joy wanted for Perry White?
Yes.
I think we might have mentioned this already.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a very different Perry. But I like that she did actually get him on the show. So that was cool.
Yeah. He was fun to see on the screen.
It's the morning of the wedding, and Lex Luthor goes down to the cellar to pay Superman another visit. He unlocks the cage door, says something snarky about Superman looking ill, well, duh, and proceeds to say that he, Lex, is feeling wonderful. He quotes some Shakespeare.
She's beautiful, therefore to be wooed. She's woman, therefore to be won.
And gloats about how he's going to be getting married to Lois, while Superman just has to hang out in this cage and suffer away. Lex is now inside the cage, too, very close to Superman, and says,
And tonight won't be just any night. I love Lois, I do. I really do. But she's just a little too independent, don't you think? Well, I'll take care of that.
Good Lord, Lex, you don't even love Lois the way she is. It is clear that this is all a sick game to him, if it wasn't already clear. But this might just be the very thing that spurs Clark into action in a minute. That and his own self-preservation. But, you know, at this point, he's just been, lying there coughing, not trying to get out. So, Superman manages to cough out.
Clark Kent knows where I am.
I'm not sure what Clark is hoping he will achieve by saying this, but hey, he's got very few hopes left at this point and is probably ready to try anything. Lex bats 0 eyes at this, though, merely responding, well, yes, I'll have to kill him too. But that reminds me, which one? He holds up 2 cummerbunds and asks Superman to decide which is more appropriate for Lex to wear to the wedding.
The red for passion and the white for purity. Well, I agree, definitely the red.
Lex pauses for a second and then says, oh, how strange to hear you say my name and know that it may be for the last time. And then he goes into this monologue.
But am I making a mistake? Will the pain of losing the challenge that you represent be worse than the pain of constantly losing to you?
He finally decides, nah. And with this, Lex steps out, locks the cage door, and drops the key onto one of the barrels about 6 feet away from the cage. We assume he does this either absentmindedly or to purposely taunt Superman, thinking there's no way he can reach the key anyway. Lex leaves, calling, I'll be back. When it's over, then you and I will have a nice little heart-to-heart. As he says this last part, he gestures toward an X that's hanging on the wall. Well, dang. Lex calls,
Have a nice day. Tonight.
As soon as he's gone, Clark focuses on that key. There is hope, but how is he going to get it? After a commercial break, we cut to Lois in her wedding dress, standing in front of a mirror, crying. Someone knocks on the door and we hear this person call, 10 minutes, Mrs. Luthor. Lois tries to psych herself up by saying into the mirror, Mrs. Lex Luthor, but this does not help one bit. She tries Lois Lane Luthor, Lois Luthor Lane, and then she eventually lands on
Lois Lane Kent.
thinks about that for a second. But now she's just too upset about anything and starts to cry and says, Lois Lane. Which is like, I just want to go back to how it was. A woman comes into frame and puts her hands on Lois's shoulder. It's Mom.
Oh, what am I gonna do?
Oh, honey, if you're not sure.
It's too late.
No, it's not. You do what your heart tells you to do.
Go Mom.
Good parent advice right there.
It's never too late.
Back down in the wine cellar, Clark begins crawling toward the edge of the cage. He takes a couple deep breaths and then begins attempting to use what remaining powers he has left to summon that key with his super breath. He manages to move it towards him a few inches, but it snags on the edge of the barrel, and even that little effort is causing Clark to have a massive coughing fit. At this point, he absently touches one of the cage bars. We hear a sizzle, and this is obviously seriously hurt. Back upstairs at the wedding, Ellen Lane is now seated in the audience, and the ceremony is about to start. Lex comes out a side door and makes his way to the front of the room. The bridal march begins to play, and here comes Lois down the aisle. We cut back to Clark, who can faintly hear the wedding music. It's not clear if it's because A, he still has some super hearing, B, Lex has piped the sound in from the ceremony via some speakers just to taunt Superman, or C, the music is just that darn loud, but at any rate, Clark can hear it. What's your theory about why Clark can hear the music?
I never thought about it that way, but that would make
either.
sense that he piped the music in there just to taunt him. I could totally see him doing that. That's a good theory.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it either. I think I like that theory.
That's just stabbing him with a knife. I mean,
Yeah.
jeez.
Haha, listen
to this while you die.
Clark tries using the white cummerbund that Lex left in the cage to snag the key ring. This elicits more coughing, but he does manage to get the key off the barrel, but it's still really far away. And he basically, it kind of there's kind of the implication here that his super breath is tapped out at this point, because he decides to take one last effort and throws all his body weight against the cage to make it move a couple of inches. And that's where we leave Clark. Upstairs at the wedding, though, Lois is walking down the aisle and having flashbacks of Clark, actually. She thinks about him and her in the pilot, where she says, "You are a strange one, Clark Kent," and him saying, "Am I?" She also flashes back to Pheromone My Lovely, where she was under the perfume spell, puts her leg on his desk and says, "Clark?" Just a sec, Lois, Jen had some questions about how much she remembered of Pheromone My Lovely, but this proves she does remember that.
Yeah.
And we also get a scene of him kissing her goodbye in Man of Steel bars and saying,
Goodbye, Lois.
which is like,
Ooh.
oh, that could actually be happening for reals, actually, if you consider. Wow. You know, and breaking away from this for a second, I have always wondered, knowing what we know later about Lois and Clark kind of having some, I don't know what the word is, like connections, like in Home is Where the Hurt Is, when he's saying her name and she can kind of like hear him. And they're like connected. I always wonder right here if she is in a terrible mood, not just because she doesn't want to marry Lex, but because maybe she can kind of feel what Clark's going through. But probably not. I mean, I don't think they were thinking that far ahead, but I always just wonder.
I was just thinking, when she flashes back to him saying goodbye, Lois, like you said, she's thinking that that could happen. But if she goes through with that, that's going to happen, because he has a hatred towards Lex and he's already angry that she's thinking about it. If she really does do it, he's gone. And that's going to help her decision. Yay.
So do you think was she focusing on that memory because of him saying goodbye to her, or was she focusing on that memory because he kissed her? Because growing up, when I would watch this scene, I was always thinking she was thinking about the kiss. No?
I would think if she wanted to think about the kiss, she'd think about the one in Honeymoon in Metropolis, because that was way more intense. So to answer that question, yeah, no, I think she focused on the goodbye rather than
Goodbye.
the kiss because there was a better kiss.
That makes me feel sad. Okay.
Lois is now standing next to Lex. Lois notices the man officiating is the Archbishop, and she whispers her surprise to Lex, who apologizes, thinking she's unhappy when actually she's in awe, saying the Pope had a prior engagement.
Sure.
He's like, yeah, I'm really sorry I couldn't get the Pope. And she's like,
I mean, what?
The Archbishop begins to speak. We are gathered here today, blah, blah, blah. If anyone has any reason why, let them speak now. At this point, we do see Clark struggling. He would love to speak now, but he cannot. The Archbishop does the whole, do you, Lex, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife forever and ever? And Lex says, I do. But when it's Lois's turn, she stammers a bit.
Lois.
I can't.
Yay!
Yay.
No sooner do these words leave her mouth when the back doors of the room open and in come Perry White, Jimmy Olsen, Jack, Inspector Henderson, and a bunch of other police officers. Lois's adorable first reaction upon seeing Perry, Jimmy, and Jack, etc., is to cry, Lex, they came! But no, they're not here for the wedding. They're here to arrest Lex. Lois is massively confused. Lex is livid. He says, what is the meaning of this? Perry tells Lex that they have all the evidence they need against him. Henderson tells Lex that Lex is under arrest for arson and other crimes too numerous to mention. He begins to read Lex his rights, but Lex is not having this. He turns to someone out of frame and says, and here it is, you guys.
Get me the governor on the phone.
Give me the president!
Get him on the phone!
That's funny.
That
I
your
could totally
quote?
hear. Yeah, that's a good one. I should have known.
On the phone. But no one's getting anyone on the phone because right then, Mrs. Cox is escorted in by two officers and she is wearing handcuffs. She and Lex meet each other's eyes and recognition seems to be dawning on Lex.
Hey, too, Mrs. Cox.
I've always thought that what is happening here is that the police got to Mrs. Cox, said, we know what you guys have been up to, and if you, like a plea bargain, like if you give us evidence against Lex, you'll get some immunity and won't have jail time, that kind of thing. But this time watching it, there was a small part of me that wonders if Mrs. Cox went into that job knowing that she would bring down Lex. Like, was she hired by Tony Taylor to
like a plant
that she had
or something?
Was she put in that position to help bring down Lex? And was it this whole thing? That could be a whole backstory. I just wonder.
Never thought about that, but I kind of like that because it was a little easy for them to take him down, really. So if they had her help,
I don't know who hired her. I don't know if she was there.
Nigel.
on behalf of somebody else.
That would have meant
it would be kind of perfect.
Somebody would have been onto him earlier on, prior to the Daily Planet getting blown up. But
I can see it totally being like something. We don't get the evidence of that, but the way she looks at him and the way she just kind of laughs. Like, there's something else going on here. I don't know. She's obviously had some background in, when you saw her in Barbarians with the machine gun and everything, she's had some training too. Like, where did he find this woman? Anyway, justice for Mrs. Cox, blah, blah, blah. So Lex then kisses Lois's hand and tells her he's sorry. He says, we'll take a rain check. Something's come up. Which is, because in his mind, he thinks Lois just got cold feet, but that she's still going to go through with it, maybe. No, she said, no.
No means no, Lex.
Especially now, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, don't worry about these little legal troubles. We will get married as soon as I deal with this. So Henderson makes a move to escort Lex out of there, but Lex shoves Henderson down, takes down a second cop, kicks over a third cop, and then runs out of the room, locking the door behind him. This man has some moves.
Karate.
Guess all that, when we've seen him fencing and all that, but I did not know he had these other skills.
That's true.
So Henderson is unable to follow behind Lex, but says, don't worry, the building is sealed off. They'll get him. Lois is now crying, and her mom rushes over to comfort her. But something I noticed in this viewing, I mentioned it to you guys the other day, was right before Ellen runs over, she is standing next to Jack and Jimmy, who are like kind of comforting her. And I had never, ever really noticed that before, which is sweet. I wonder if Jimmy's been introduced to Ellen Lane in the past, or what that whole was about, or why the director had them do that. But I love it.
Yeah, it was cute.
Very cute. All right, so Lex is now made his way down to the wine cellar. The man is desperate. He's going to get this over with. He knows he doesn't have a lot of time left, so he rushes in an absolute panic rage, grabs the axe off the wall.
Sorry, Superman. No time to chat. I'll just take my pound of flesh and...
As soon as he hits the word "and," he looks and he sees the cage doors open and Superman is gone. Whew! Lex just starts yelling and he slams the axe down into the top of the nearby barrel, breaking the lid. He then takes a few deep breaths and takes off running across the room around a corner, probably to some secret elevator or staircase, who knows. But as he runs past, the camera pans around to a corner where we see Clark hidden almost entirely in shadow, breathing some deep sighs of relief. He's far enough away from the cage now that it isn't making him actively sick, and better still, Lex Luthor did not see him there. Thank goodness.
Yay.
Presumably a short while later, Perry, Lois, Jimmy, and Jack are leaving the building. Lois is still in her wedding dress, Perry's holding her arm, and Lois is still crying. She says, "I've always been such a good judge of character." Perry tells her, "Don't blame yourself, he fooled all of us." Jack immediately says, "Not me." And Jimmy adds, "I never trusted him," which we all know isn't true, but nice attempt to save face, Jimmy.
Okay.
But recall that when Lex said he was buying the Daily Planet, Jimmy was like, "Oh, happy days are here again."
Yeah,
Woo-hoo.
yeah, that's true.
But that's because he was getting his job back.
Yeah.
Not necessarily
Yeah,
that
he
he
was real
liked
enthusiastic.
Lex, but just that he
Yeah.
now
Trusted
had his
him.
job back was a good thing. But yeah, I don't think he
He's like, "I'm going to pay my rent this month." Woohoo. All right. Lois then says, "Where's Clark?" And the thing is here, none of them even know, because Clark has actually been missing since the day before. But before any of them can say this, we hear right here. And there is Clark in a suit. So apparently he was able to escape the wine cellar and find his clothes and completely dress himself sans his full powers. Yay.
Yeah.
Lois runs right over to him, puts her arms around him, and lays her head on his shoulder. And that is an epic hug. Possibly best
good.
hug of entire series right here.
Waffy.
The emotions in this hug are just all over. They don't even exchange words, but I mean, Lois has realized Clark was right all along about Lex. She's also recently realized she cares about him. And he's just barely escaped this Kryptonite cage with his life after probably thinking for a while there that he might never see her again. So, my emotions. Their emotions. It's too much.
So
It's too
sweet.
much. Lex has made his way to his penthouse. So yeah, I'm going to go with that secret elevator theory. But so have the cops, and they have all drawn guns. Lex rushes to his desk, does a few things, pushes a button, opening the balcony doors. He then runs over to the railing and looks over the side. Henderson says, "It's over, Luthor. Give it up." But Lex steps up onto the ledge and yells,
Lex Luthor!
Luthor will not live in a cage! Luthor, no!
You know this is the tallest building in Metropolis? Did you?
Top of the world.
Down, down, down. Lex looks like he's flying, kinda. No virtual reality here, though. Down on the ground, Clark makes a sort of involuntary move to sort of fly up and catch Lex, which he would do if he had his powers. And Lois's arm is kind of around him, and she's kind of like, ugh. But he can't fly at the moment. That kryptonite exposure has temporarily sucked away at least that power. Clark says, I can't. And at that moment, Lois buries her head in Clark's chest. Clark embraces her and closes his eyes. Well, Lex apparently goes splat, although it is not shown on screen. Instead, we get a nice shot of Lois's bouquet hitting the ground and someone stepping on it.
Nice touch.
Watching it this time, the way Lex looks over the edge, looks back, it's almost like he had a contingency plan to maybe have like a helicopter there to catch him, or a trampoline at the ground or something, like, but that it wasn't there, or something, like maybe his plan, and he's just like, I'm gonna jump, I'm gonna go for it. He must have known that Gretchen Kelly would have his back.
To have him on ice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't think Lex would have ever just been like, well, yes, he would rather die than live in a cage,
Yeah.
but I think he had backup plans here.
Just didn't.
I always thought that there was going to be a helicopter or something. Like you can even kind of, I think, hear it really, but I think it's probably a newscopter or something.
News.
Or police, something. But I was like, oh, he's got a helicopter. Nope. Nope.
Shades of Back to the Future 2, if I may bring that up, where Marty does jump over the edge of the building, but that's only because he sees the DeLorean is floating up and he's able to land on that, and Biff is like, what? But yeah, there's nothing to catch you here, Lex, so well, here's the next scene. The very next scene, we get a spinning newspaper montage for Metropolis Star newspapers. Okay, go ahead, Julie, go get your paper. Which read, number 1.
I do have one.
Plunges to death. Which one do we have?
It's way up there. You can't. It's on the wall, so I'm not gonna take it off the wall. But I have.
Oh yeah, I see
the Luthor corpse stolen from the morgue. That's the one I have. Yeah, it's that one.
That's number 2. Number 1 is Luthor plunges to death. Number 2, which is right behind Julie, Luthor's corpse stolen from morgue, and in smaller print, police fear body snatchers. Number 3. Luthor responsible for Daily Planet's demise. And number 4, fall of the House of Luthor. Followed by one of the National Whisper reading, Luthor and Elvis alive. Open surf shop in Rio.
That's the one I want.
That's hilarious.
If there's another one, I want that one. That one's great.
Well, there were a lot of jokes back in the 90s about Elvis being alive and being spotted, and he, so that goes with that. But also, it foreshadowing of Lex, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a very small print on that one where it says, aliens kidnapped my cat, and folks believe that that is our very last reference to Cat Grant.
Oh. Aw.
Or a coincidence.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cat.
So it's now a few days later, maybe, and not sure how much time has passed, but Lois, Clark, Perry, and Jimmy and Jack are all outside the Daily Planet building looking up. Jimmy says, I wish they'd just get it over with and tear this place down. Perry agrees. He says, yep, too many memories. And Lois says, most of them good. Perry says there's a lesson to be learned in all of this, and Jack's like, sassily, always being Jack, why am I not surprised?
Of course there is.
Perry goes on to say, the lesson is that we should appreciate what we've got when we've got it. And amen, Perry. Clark is pretty silent here. He seems to be lost in thought, kind of sad. And Lois happens to notice this, but before she can say anything, Perry says,
I know I've said this before, but I just hate it that Luthor got his way in this one thing.
He didn't. Look.
It's Franklin Stern. He's changed his mind. Not only has he bought the Daily Planet, they're going to rebuild/remodel it. It's back, baby. Mr. Stern even brought the globe back. They unveil it. We cut to Lois and Clark with big smiles, and there's applause all around.
Great shades of Elvis.
Where did he get the globe?
I think it was in storage.
At the junkyard.
No, they didn't put it in the junkyard. They might have put it in storage because that could have been like a museum. There are museums of like architecture and stuff like that. And they could have been like, well, we'll donate it as a historical artifact. But Franklin Stern's like, no, we're putting it back up.
Donate it to me, please. I will take it.
Right?
Oh, good.
Where would you put that? Oh my gosh.
I have no idea.
You need a new house.
I would build on for that if I had that, but I'm sure that got destroyed. It's in some dumpster,
You know, maybe
junkyard.
not though. Those, again with the Back to the Future, but those Lion Estate signs are on the back lot of Universal, and they get painted every once in a while. They get put in storage. They get brought back out. Just like, you never know.
It might be out there.
But knowing what we know about Warner Brothers, you're probably right.
It's probably gone.
Mr. Stern does say that he's drawn up some plans for modernizations to the Daily Planet, which causes Perry some distress. And they go off screen, and then we focus on Lois and Clark. Clearly, there's still a little bit of awkwardness between them. We get the feeling like they have not really talked since the wedding, maybe. Well, Lois seems to be the one to want to make the move to bridge that gap. I mean, obviously Clark wants to, but Lois is the one kind of walking towards him. And they have a cute conversation in which Lois tells Clark,
You never gave up. On the planet. On your friends. On me.
I couldn't. You've just named probably everything in this world that's precious to me.
oh my God, the Woffs. They both start to say something else, but Clark insists on going first. He tells Lois he's sorry about a lot of things. He says, I wanted to bring Luthor down, but I never wanted to hurt you. He tells her he shouldn't have said anything about the way he felt about her. And actually, it wasn't true. He's not in love with her. He says, I would have done anything to keep you from marrying Luthor. We see that he's crossing his fingers behind his back, but for shame, Clark.
Ugh, Clark.
Maddening.
First of all, telling somebody that you're in love with them and then telling them that you're not in love with them just makes you sound like an emotional manipulator, which, ew, that's what Lex was. Clark, you're better than that. Ew.
Mm-hmm.
Reasons, though. Why does Clark do this? Thoughts, opinions?
I think he was trying to save face. I think he was so hurt, and he took her words of that she's not in love with him as, okay, there's no hope. So he wants things to go back to how they were. And so he was just like, okay, I don't want to put her in this awkward position. So I'm going to take it back. He just didn't know that she had come to some senses. So she had come to her senses, I guess. I don't know, but it's so dumb.
Yeah, he was just tired of the awkwardness and wanted it to go back to the way it was. But darn it, just give her 2 seconds to say something first. Ugh.
I agree. And I also think he's scared. He doesn't know what she's about to say.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll never know.
Yeah.
But I think he's fearing that she's about to say something to the effect of, Clark, ever since you told me you loved me, I've been thinking about that. And it's going to make it too awkward for us to be friends. And I think that we need to just keep apart from each other, because now that I know you're in love with me, I think we can't be friends anymore, kind of thing. Which is dumb.
Yeah.
Or it can happen in real life, but
right.
I'm thinking that he's so afraid that she's going to say something to that effect that he wants to preempt that and just take it all back so that, like you said, they can go back to normal and be coworkers. But if he'd let her speak, she might have said, hey, when I was walking down that aisle, I was only thinking about you. Maybe it was something. Also, the writers knew that they couldn't get Lois and Clark together this soon, so they had to reset things.
It's too soon, but maybe he was also afraid that she did kind of start to have a feeling, and he was scared of being a rebound, like she's not really ready.
Mm,
Maybe, I don't, maybe a little bit of that.
Yeah.
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 Did you notice that when they started their conversation and Clark is looking toward her, but like past her toward the globe, he says something like, I've never seen anything more beautiful in my entire life. As
Oh,
a
yeah.
kid, I wondered if maybe he was looking at Lois because Lois turns and she
Oh,
looks
yeah.
at him and smiles, and then that's the door opening for her to go and talk to him. I think in her
Oh, yeah.
mind, she was like,
That's the joke, kind of. Yeah.
yeah, that I think in her mind too, that just solidified that, man, this guy's good, and maybe I really should give him a shot. And I wondered if that's why she was about to profess her own love for him, because he was right about the about Lex, and then he said that thing, and it just, I don't know if it won her over, but
That was Clark's get out of jail free way of saying Lois is beautiful, but then being like, I'm actually looking at the globe.
psych, right there. Yeah,
But he did mean
he
it.
did.
She is beautiful.
Mhm.
So, even though Lois may have been about to say that she also had feelings for him after he says all that, just wanting to be friends, she just kind of agrees with, oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to say too. That's it, friends forever. Just then, Clark hears a cry for help and asks Lois if they can continue this later. He has to go, and he runs off. She doesn't seem mad, just says,
Sure. Why not go? Run off and disappear like you always do when we're having a discussion. Well, guess everything's back to normal.
We then see Superman flying across the sky. Lois sees him too and smirks and says,
I'm not done with you either, big fella.
do-do-do-do, that's our episode.
Hey,
It reset a bunch of
it.
stuff, but sets us up for season 2 being more of the same, but maybe even more romantic, because we know what Clark's thinking.
And many
We
more
know they
of
belong
the
together.
conversations being cut short and him leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Many
Oh,
of that
yeah,
to come.
Here
it's
come
not
the
always going to be
excuses.
cute, Lois.
No.
Yeah.
You're not always going to be okay with that. Mm-mm. Well, I feel like one thing we should touch on is there's been talk about like how Kryptonite's different, does different things in different episodes and has different effects and things like that. It is interesting how in Green Glow of Home he lost all his powers. However, that was a huge chunk of Kryptonite.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a little bit, which is being dispersed in those bars somehow. We don't know science, but
Paint.
it's a smaller bit for sure. So Clark does still have some of his powers when he's in the cage. Like he can use a little bit of super breath.
It was also his first
after-
exposure in Green Glow of Home, so that maybe it was just he took a big old hit the first time.
I thought about that too, except then if you think about in Tempest Anyone, when the alternate Clark is exposed to Kryptonite, he gets his powers back pretty soon after, so it doesn't really. But like I said, they're never consistent, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that Clark does not have his full powers back even after getting away from the Kryptonite this time. And somehow he's able to get back onto the sidewalk, get dressed and everything, but he is not able to fly up and get Lex, which, holy crap, if he had his powers and just tried to like fly up his Clark right then and save Lex, oh no! That would have exposed his secret pretty
I know, that's true.
much right then and there.
Yeah.
And not to get too spoilery, but in our season premiere, which we'll eventually get to, Madam X, they do deal with this whole why didn't Clark save Lex thing, which I think is nice continuity, but can save that. Does anyone else have anything they want to add to our discussion? New things you noticed? Favorite moments? Anything?
One quick thing, and it doesn't need to take up any time. I just want to give a little shout out to Lois's wedding dress. She wears a few throughout the series, and I think this is the wedding dress that is the most beautiful. Her veil, everything was stunning. And later on, I have opinions about some of the other wedding dresses that she wears. This one's topping my list, so wanted to
Well,
give a
Lex has
shout
more
out.
money, So
True.
it's custom,
True.
probably all custom made for this one because
Yeah.
Lex was paying for it, and the other ones
Right.
were paid
Yeah.
by her father. So
Yeah. Off
I
the
would assume.
rack. Right.
Exactly.
Well, even though this episode is a great season finale, it ends on a high note. It ends with like a kind of a hopeful send off into our next season. There are a few plot points here that get brought back. We don't see, but we hear about Franklin Stern again in season 2. We get the repercussions of Superman supposedly supposed to be saving Lex. He should have saved Lex Luthor. He was a great man. And we get the repercussions throughout Metropolis of Lex dying. Of course, Lex isn't gone for good. That whole
Dying.
body stolen from morgue is important.
Mhm.
That we know that, and that will get brought up very soon into season 2 and then dealt with throughout this season. So there's some nice plot threads that continue.
Yeah, we hear that Stern has ideas for modernization and that, the planet gets a remodel. So that was a good thing. They had an excuse. They blew it up just so they could remodel.
Yep.
A lot of things get revamped over this episode between this one and the next one. We have the final appearance of John Shea as a regular. We have Michael switching out. Jimmy number 2 coming in. We no longer have Jack. Sad face.
Aw.
We no longer
Yeah.
have Kat. Phyllis gets changed. So
Yeah.
Mom gets
Mrs.
changed.
Cox is gone, although she will get a mention.
Mm-hmm. A lot of last appearances.
Henderson.
Last appearance of Henderson.
Right.
For a little while, I was thinking, I have an interview with Terry and Phyllis Coates. I don't know where it is. I'm hoping that I can find it. Could be on this computer, could be on another, could be on a backup drive. Who knows? But I have one of them, and I thought it was interesting because Terry had said that it was her idea to cast Phyllis Coates as her mother because clearly she needed a mother in this episode, which I thought was cool. And I was thinking, is this the first incidence of a legacy Superman cast person like playing somebody? And I was like, wait, no, they did that in Superman the movie with Kirk Allen and Noelle Neal playing Lois's mother. So this would be probably the second incident of that happening. And they do that a lot now in all of the DC and Marvel really do it. I think it's more of a DC thing though. Or like Lois or Terry will go on and play Lois's mother in Smallville. Dean was on Smallville.
Right.
They do it a lot now.
Did either of them go on Clark and Lois? What's that called?
Superman
Lois
and Lois.
Superman and Lois? Yeah. I don't know what it's called.
No.
No.
They went
No.
on Supergirl, and then that was
That's
like
what
the
it was.
precursor.
Supergirl. Okay.
Supergirl.
That's right.
So Smallville and then Supergirl. They didn't do Superman and Lois, but Superman and Lois did have kind of not a mention, but they had a book that Lois was reading that was about Wanda Detroit, which was very cool.
Oh, that's fun.
So at least it kind of got a little nod at the show. But I wish they did it. They should have been on that too.
Mm-hmm.
Lost opportunities.
All right, so we have some special features for this season finale. First of all,
I am so tired of the excuses, Clark.
Jen, what is the most bonkers excuse Clark uses in this episode?
I love this excuse. Love it / hate it. When he's crossing his fingers behind his back and he says the truth of the matter is it wasn't true. I'm not in love with you. I would have said anything to stop you from marrying Luthor. That is such a lie. The fact that you're crossing your fingers behind your back, I'm sorry, are you 6? That's my favorite. I mean, there was the one where he forgot his clothes in the dryer, but I don't think that one even compares. So that's my favorite. And it sets up the whole rest of the, season 2. Because now you want to know.
Stupid Clark.
Yeah. Stupid Clark.
All right, Julie, were there any goofs or bloopers in this episode?
I did catch a few when Lex is having Superman pick his cummerbund color.
Mm-hmm.
He chooses red, but he doesn't ever wear it. He wears a black and white one. So I guess he decided, nah, I'm just going to go with this one instead.
Oh, wow.
So that was completely pointless because he still didn't even wear it. Okay, so my second, which I think is kind of a goof, is if Clark could not fly at the very end of this episode, how did he get clothes so quickly to show back up? Do you think enough time has passed? Because I don't think that much time has passed for him to go all the way to his apartment, not flying, to get clothes and then get all the way back.
Well, yeah, I always thought like when he first went to the wine cellar as Superman, he left some Clark clothes like on the roof or somewhere in the bushes, which is the same theory. Like we see this throughout the series. Like, how did he get into the costume? Where did he have that suit? And so, yes, I don't think he went all the way home. I think he had clothes nearby. So I was just saying, I think my thing was like, oh, he had clothes nearby, like he stuffed them in a bush or something. But it's still silly because,
like a tie and everything. It could have just been like a t-shirt and, some shorts or something. But maybe he used up all his energy going to get clothes and back, and that's why he really couldn't fly anymore. Who knows?
What if he can suction? Like, you know how when you're trying to save space and you have the little plastic bags and you suck the air out and it makes it really compact. Maybe he can super suction stuff into a little plastic baggie and it's under his cape. So all of his clothes were just vacuum sealed under his cape somewhere. And it was there all along. He just had to like undo the thing, and
that would save us a lot of questions going forward. So we could just go with that.
He keeps plenty of things in his trunk, so maybe that's why his butt looks a little bit padded. It's in there too.
Maybe, maybe. Or in his boots, like he just stuffs them down his boots, little vacuum sealed clothes container.
Okay, sure. And then at the very end, I saw that the clip where Superman is flying across the sky, he's wearing that old, terrible looking shoulder pad cape. Hate it. Stop reusing that clip, please. Horrible.
I registered that it was a stock shot, but it didn't register that he had the bad suit on. I have one tiny blooper as part of my What the Hell Was Lex Talking About section.
Yes, what is it?
He was talking about, one of the things he talked about was his Shakespeare quote, "She's beautiful, therefore to be wooed." We hear him say Henry V right after that, but it's actually Henry VI. So, Lex, you don't even know your Shakespeare, baby.
Wow.
Jeez.
So what the hell was Lex talking about? Well, so that quote, like I just said, is from Henry VI. It sounds romantic on the surface, maybe, but because this is Lex, it is not. It is rather vile in context. After Lois says, "I can't," and Lex is being arrested, he tells Lois that they will take a rain check. And I know that rain check is a common phrase here, but it's not that common throughout all of the world because it actually originated with baseball here in the US, where they would give a ticket. If the game had rain, you could get a ticket for another game if it got rained out and you wouldn't have to pay. So now it's just a phrase used for any time something has to be postponed or because it got interrupted for whatever reason, like a wild arrest or a bunch of people storming in the door and saying, "You're under arrest." Okay. He also used the phrase "green around the gills," which is an idiom meaning somebody looks like they're ill or nauseated. And I'm going to let this go into my next section too, because when he was singing "Tonight, Tonight," could just be any night or whatever it was. It is the song "Tonight" from West Side Story in 1957, written by Leonard Bernstein and Stephen Sondheim. Jen likes that musical.
Mm-hmm.
Here are some of the other real-life people, places, and events that we noticed, or that I noticed. We got a mention of Chicago, Italy, also the Borgias, which was an Italian noble family that had some times back in the day. Another mention of Elvis. We got our first mention of Sam Phillips. That's Samuel Cornelius Phillips, born in 1923, died in 2003. He was an American disc jockey songwriter and record producer. Apparently worked with Elvis, I guess. Lois and Lex went to a production of Othello. It is one of Shakespeare's tragedies, written around 1603. A very strange choice to go watch that the night before your wedding. Lex mentioned both Shakespeare and Dr. Seuss. We saw Rio on the newspaper, and that's our second mention of Rio. The last one was in Batman. And I do believe that is all. So, Jen, were there any furry, feathery, or other lively little fuzzy friends in this episode?
Unfortunately not. I wish.
So the time has come for us to rate this episode on a scale from A+ to F-, our final episode of season 1. Julie, tell us your rating, please.
Okay. Well, this is an amazing conclusion to the second half of our very first two-parter episode. It was absolutely heartbreaking that Clark did the whole fingers crossed behind his back, taking back his love for Lois. But what was promising for me was that we now know that they both have feelings for each other. And that leads to potential for next season. So hoping in my head that it's going to go in that direction gave me excitement for the summer. I have to admit that I was a little sad that they killed off Lex because I did like him, but also that was again something that I was very interested in how as they were going to go forward next season. Are we going to have different villains? Are they going to somehow miraculously bring him back? What is going to happen? So at this very point, I was very invested in the new season coming up. I give this episode a solid A.
Jen.
Well, I thought this was such a good episode. I've always loved it. We still have Jack, who I love, and the guys are all working together to bring down Lex. And ultimately, we see the downfall of Lex Luthor. The truth comes out. He pays the price for everything, which is satisfying, even though it's sad because Lex is the best villain out there. There's tension, obviously, for the majority of the episode between Lois and Clark, but ultimately, Lois realizing her true feelings, only to have it yanked away because of Clark's stupidity, it leaves me wanting so much more. And so I also gave this a very solid A.
I was so close to giving this an A+. I really don't know why I didn't. I don't have a reason, really.
I always compare this one to Green. Well, I don't think I gave Green Glow Home an A+. But I compare it to a future episode that we're going to get to, and it's almost, but it's not quite.
All right. So for me, Barbarians of the Planet set up this second episode beautifully. And House of Luthor is basically the best. I wish Clark hadn't crossed his fingers at the end of it, of course. But, like Julie said, knowing how season 2 will progress because of or in spite of that choice, I have no real anger towards it. It's a solid episode, funny, sweet, and angsty, all-around banger, A+.
Yay!
Nice. Wow.
All right, don't go anywhere because today we are talking about something that has already made its impact on the show, and that is the Lois and Clark official soundtrack. Now, strangely enough, the Lois and Clark soundtrack came out after the show left the air. You know, Lois and Clark was supposed to get a 5th season, and so they were going to release this, and then whoops, we got canceled. But even so, they still went ahead with it, which we're very grateful for. The music is all by Jay Gruska, who was the composer of the show. You know him from the theme song. All the beautiful music, including several pieces that we have already heard on the show. And I think there's even one in this episode, if I'm not wrong.
I think it's virtual reality. I believe
Number
is
15.
What was playing when Lex was flying around. That's
yes,
on
as Lex was flying around, we heard number 15, virtual reality. So the total running time on this CD is 57 minutes and 58 seconds. There are 21 different pieces. The sad thing about the soundtrack, if there's something sad to be said, is that Jay Gruska composed so many great little tunes for Lois and Clark, and a bunch of them did not end up on here. It seems to focus really heavily on the new Krypton arc music. But leaves off some of the cuter, sweeter love themes. However, we will put a link to this on our website, though. Jay Gruska has his own website where he does have a few samples of some of those pieces of music that were not on the CD. How excited were you guys when you found out this was coming out?
I was very excited. I remember immediately saying, I got to go to the mall. Please take me to the mall. I want to go to Record Town and check out and see if they have it. And just flipping through all the little things, finally finding it. I was really excited.
Yeah, me too. I think I went almost immediately, like right when it came out. I went to the mall or Tower Records or whatever it was that had. I don't remember where I shopped, but I went and bought it. I probably saved up because I didn't have a job at that point, but I was one of the first to get it. Rip that plastic off.
I did not have a CD player at this point in my life. One of my folk friends was kind enough to put it onto a cassette tape for me, and they sent me the cassette tape version. So I was able to listen to it for several months until I finally got a CD player.
That's adorable.
So I am holding up the little pamphlet cover that came with the CD at the beginning. The front has a picture from season 1 where he's wearing that horrible cape and Lois in front of a skyline and the big logo on the front. If you open it up, there is a assortment of pictures from the series. We have, it's like a 4th season one here. Return of the Prankster. We got them kissing up by the moon. We got, now this one I don't like so much because you know what that is.
Ugh, that's
Oh,
the clone.
yeah.
It's Clone
Clody.
Lois. Clone Lois getting married.
Lois.
But over here we do have the real one. I think that's no? Is that yeah, because he's wearing a different tie.
Just as bad though. Sorry.
We got a picture that taken by the tiger in Ordinary People. A few more. Oh, and I love this one that I'm Looking Through You when he flies into the Superman celebration.
Isn't that wait?
Got a picture.
Is it? Or is that from no, I think that's the 4th season.
Oh, is that from Sex, Lies, and
Lies, and
Videotape?
Videotape,
You're right. It is from Sex, Lies, and Videotape. I was glancing at it too quickly. So Jay Gruska does have a little picture here and a quote. He says, when one is composing music for a film or TV series, there never seems to be enough time to get it all done. Since it is a joint effort that brings a film score to completion, I am honored to work with the musicians here in Los Angeles who always perform at such a high level, even when there is only a fraction of the time to do it in. And yeah, we should definitely acknowledge all of the musicians who contributed to the orchestra that would play. I mean, if you listen to the music, we've got like flutes going on here and trumpets going on here and cymbals, and it's glorious.
Yeah,
the music is fantastic.
I think he said it was a 55-piece full orchestra for some of this, which is amazing. I mean,
the theme
obviously
song,
the theme
I
song,
agree.
a lot of the new Krypton had the full orchestra, and you can clearly tell that it's amazing. It's epic. Some of those are epic.
So today we're just touching on what this soundtrack is and some of our memories, but in a future episode, we will listen to it and give you our thoughts on the different songs and just get more in depth into that. But that's it for now. Don't worry, we are coming back. Thank you so much for listening today. If you're following alongside us, our next episode will be Season 2, Episode 1, Madam X, but that's not going to come out for a while. Before that, you're going to get our 21st episode check-in. That'll come out next week. And when you listen to that one, we're going to tell you about some of our upcoming very special episodes that will keep you entertained, we hope, until Season 2 begins.
Typing away with the sound of gears. Retro feels, let's rewind the years.
Wait a minute! How do I find you?
You can find us on Instagram or Blue Sky as Folks Forever. That's FOLCSFOREVER. Or you can visit our website at folksforeverpod.wixsite.com/podcast. And until next time, please enjoy this amazing little ditty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh,
Metropolis, the city's holding tight. Lois Lane in white silk on the biggest night of her life. Clark tried to warn her, said Lex is bad news. Now he's chasing shadows instead of saying I love you. There's a whisper in the newsroom, a villain called the boss. Planet went down in flames, careers all at a loss. With Perry, Jimmy, Jack connecting every dot. Turns out the billionaire villainy is Lex, what a shock. Oh, it's secret schemes and a wedding so wrong. Truth crashing down like a daily planet bomb. Love's hanging there by the tiniest thread, and nobody communicates anything they meant. Down in the cellar, vintage wine on display. Lex shows Superman his most unhinged soiree. A cage made of kryptonite, glowing radioactive green. Lex smirks like this is the best thing I've ever seen. He locks him away, straightens up his tie. Time to marry Lois, nothing could go awry. Oh, it's power and pride and a villain too sure, thinking love and control are exactly the cure. But fate, my friend, has a different intent, and this wedding is about to get very bent. In a full-length mirror, Lois stares and cries. Mascara telling truths she's tried to disguise. Lois Lane Luthor, no, that's not it. Lois through the lane, that doesn't fit. Lois Lane Kent, wait, what was that? Since when does Clark make her heart go pitter-pat? Maybe she does feel more than she planned. Maybe just friends are slipping through her hands. The music swells, the doors swing wide. She walks the aisle with doubt inside. All she sees are Clark flashbacks replay. Those dumb little smiles, the things he never said I do. Smug grin in place, Lois freezes, panic on her face. I can't. Before the fallout can fully land, here comes Perry with the law in hand. They've got the proof, the files, the chain. Lex Luthor's guilty. Shocking again. Lex bolts fast to the wine cellar floor, plans to finish Superman once and for all. But the cage is empty, the hero's gone, and Lex's perfect world is officially done. Oh, it's justice crashing in just in time. The truth hits harder than kryptonite. Power slips, the walls all dim. Turns out Lex hates cages more than Ken. Cornered on the balcony, ego in shreds. Lex snarls unwilling and leaps instead. A villain's end, dramatic and grim. Metropolis exhales, the future feels dim and bright again. Mr. Stern buys the planet, rebuilds the place. New presses, new hope, a familiar space. The world feels normal, whatever that means. Happy ending stitched into in-between scenes. Lois goes to Clark, heart ready to start. When Clark blurts out lies straight from panic brain heart. I don't feel that way, says the man deeply in love. Fingers crossed behind his back, smooth move, Smallville stud. Oh, it's love postponed by one dumb mistake. Two idiots dancing around what they won't say. The city is safe, the status quo cement, at least for now. To be continued, can